Hey, it's Sean with Sean's DIY and Reviews, and today I'm working on my Dodge Journey. I'm going to change out at least some portion of the transmission fluid. Now, keep in mind this vehicle uses ATF plus 4, so that's important to make sure you have the right transmission fluid for your purposes. So on the Dodge Journey, I'm going to show you how this is done, and here we go. Let's get into it. Well, like anything else you do on your vehicle, I'm going to say do this at your own risk. But here on the front of the engine, you'll see V6, and you'll see this little guy right here right next to the airbox. And right down there, where my finger is pointing, you'll see the part, a little cap that says for dealer use only. This is where the dealer is supposed to service the transmission fluid. I am not taking it to the dealer, I'm gonna do it myself. But yeah, right where my finger is pointing down there. Let's see if I can touch it with this and you'll be able to see even better. Right here, this cap. So you may have to remove your air box in order to reach it. But this cap right here is what you're going to want to open up. And then I have my fluid extractor here, to which I'm going to remove the transmission fluid with this. And if you want to see my review of this, I did another video on the review of that. I'll link that above, and you can check out that video. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just reach my hand down in here and then just twist that cap. I already loosened it. When you pull this out, you're going to see right there where it says for dealer use only. And again, do this at your own risk. It's up to you to make that decision that it makes sense for you. I'm going to put that over on the side right here. And then I'm going to put my suction tube in there. And I want to make sure I push it all the way down as far as it can go so that it can get to the back of the transmission. And I'm going to suck the fluid out. So here we go. So I'll point out when I stuck this tube down in there the first time, it only went a certain amount, and then I pulled it out and there was nothing on there. So you probably want to push it in there and twist it around so you can get it down as far as it needs to go. But as you can see here now, this is the first time I'm using this, you can see the coloration of where that came up to. And maybe it's hard to see right here, but yeah, I can tell that it's now gone up to a certain point. And so I know that I'm getting somewhat into my transmission fluid. So after about 10 minutes, I'm starting to see this look much less full. So I think I'm getting to the bottom of where this can be reached. And you can see it moving really fast. And upwards of 3 liters. There's 3 liters right there, and that's almost the next mark up from there. So I think I can measure that from the other side and tell you how much that is. Now you might be wondering, how do I determine how much fluid to put back in? Well, there's 2 ways to do that. One, look this up on YouTube. Someone else did where they took the oil dipstick, and what they did was they put measurements on it and they measured how much it's supposed to be. Then you could take the oil dipstick with the Sharpie, measured at that particular space, and then put that into the transmission hole and measure to see if the fluid is up to that line. The other thing, and the way I'm going to do it for now, I'll probably do that one later, but the way I'm going to do that for now is I'm going to make sure that I put in exactly the same amount as I took out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure how much stuff there is that comes out of here, and I'll measure by the liters. And then what I'll do is, once I have 1 empty liter, then I'll just start filling these into the full liter, and then I'll know how many liters I have. And so basically 1 liter into the vehicle, and then I'll put 1 liter out, and then I'll see where I am, and so on and so on. But I can just measure up exactly how much I took out versus how much I put in, and then should be good to go that way. Now to put the fluid back in, I'm going to use this guy right here, make sure it's nice and clean. But this is a little pump that I got at, I believe, Harbor Freight, but they sell them at all different places. So if I can find one, I'll put a link in the description down below of where you can buy one of these guys. And I'll just put the input into my quart bottle, and then the output I'll stick down into that hole. But again, like I said, I'm going to make sure this is super clean before I do that, because you don't want anything bad going into your transmission. I just cleaned this out. The hoses actually had oil in before, and I had this old transmission fluid container here, so I just stuck both ends in here and pumped it until I had some pumping back around in circles a number of times, so both of these hoses were cleaned out. So I'm getting close to the end here, and I got almost about 4 liters here, and I looked it up. The capacity of the vehicle is about 9. So through this method, you're probably only getting out maybe about a little less than half. So, another way, as I said, is to get to drain it from the bottom. But either way, you're still going to have some that's left in the crank, in the transmission itself that might not come out. But my thought here is that this process will at least take out a good portion of it and allow us to then put clean stuff in that'll mix with the other stuff, and I can maybe do that one more time in another couple months. The way that I set this up with my pump is I put my open ATF plus 4 right there, and I put the input tube down into the hole down there, and I'll put my send tube right in here, and I'll have my little helper go ahead and pump. So you can see how red that is, nice and red. Wait till you see what comes out from the dirty stuff. But yeah, I'm just going to do this until it's all full. I won't bore you with the details. Okay, so this is the third quart that I'm filling into my disposal. So then whatever's left in here, I'll know however many lines, however far that goes up on my little indicator on the side, I'll know how much more after my third quart to refill. All right, so you can see on here what some clean fluid looks like. And you can see in there, you saw the red before, you can see how pretty black that is. So this fluid definitely needed some changing, and I'm totally glad that I did it. I bet you it's going to be more like that other one. But let's see if we can get a video of me pouring it so you can see. On the paper towel, you can see where the clean fluid is over here, and that's where the dirty fluid is. So you can see the major difference there as well. Take it up. All right, so once that's done, then you're just going to take your plug and put it back down in here and just screw it in the way it's supposed to go in. Make sure it's tight. And you, like I said, you probably want to make sure that you measure this properly, because you don't want to put more fluid than you took out, and you don't want to not put enough fluid as well. So I measured it using my draining everything into my container into quarts, or as I said, you can take the dipstick. There's a video where someone took the dipstick and basically measured a certain distance, put lines on it, stuck that down in the transmission, and if it was up to the right level, then you're good. So you might want to Google that video and see how that goes. But that's it. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn on the vehicle, just run it through each of the gears so that the transmission fluid has an opportunity to go into each particular gear and make sure everything's nice and lubricated. And as I said, I'll probably do this again in another couple months. So this way, the good's going to mix with the not so good, but then, you have almost 4 quarts of good oil compared to 8. So it's a little less than half. If I do it the second time, then I'll have, fairly fresh fluid. So that's the idea. All right. Hope this was helpful. If it was, give a thumbs up. Hope I earned you a subscriber. We'll see you in the next video.